And Mine Crypto here. I hope we're all having a wonderful day. I'm back again with another video for Quant. I'm not a financial advisor and none of this is financial advice. And the information provided in this video should never ever be seen or taken as a signal to buy or to sell. But as we usually do, we look at these crypto bubbles first and foremost before we get onto the nitty gritty, the good stuff. So as we can see, we're currently down 0.5% in the hour, up 2.1% in the day, and down 1.4% in the week, up 14.8% in the month, and still up 73.7% in the year. We're up one rank to 60, current market cap $1.74 billion with a 24-hour volume at 24.45 million, current price just sitting under 120 at the moment. Looking rather green after yesterday. Obviously the FOMC, the Fed holding the rates, saying that there could be a possibility. Obviously, Trump's saying there could be a possibility that there could be a rate drop maybe next month. Jerome Powell saying that I think they're waiting for the data to come in with regards to the tariff before they make any decisions with regards to the rates. But are we looking at quantitative easing at some point at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, which could send crypto? Obviously, not financial advice. We have to wait and see. So the market looking okay, and what we found is that generally after the FOMC, we see that dip before, and then generally the day after we see a rise, which is always nice to see. But we've only not quite returned to what we were the day before the FOMC. So hopefully we'll see a rise as we continue. We make our way over to the Cryptoquant metric. So as we can see, exchange reserve currently up 0.26% to 1.2268 million, which is obviously including derivatives and the spot exchange. That isn't the lowest that we've seen it on July the 10th. I think it was 1.215 million. So we're clicking around that. But this is what I'm interested in, the exchange net flow total, which is the difference between coins flowing into and out of the exchange. So inflow minus outflow equals net flow. So we're seeing it's down 2.24%, which is great. So 3,208. So we're seeing more leave the exchanges, which is great. Now, this is what I'm talking about. So I see this yesterday, and this is from the quant team. So I always say it's GV because he runs the show, doesn't he? So what GV has said here is retail has front run DeFi, driving adoption while institutions lag behind due to regs. Quantfusion's layer 2.5 bridges this gap. I don't think there's ever been a time when retail came first, where institutions are having to play catch up. Now, why did I say this? Now, we can see here, why did we build layer 2.5? The blockchain infrastructure and interoperability problem have been hiding in plain sight. Now, he's telling us here, while DeFi exploded and retail adoption soared, institutional players have been limited to the sidelines. Not by choice, but by regulatory necessity. Learn how Quantfusion offers a new way to solve institutional interoperability with the first layer 2.5 network built specifically to solve these institutional roadblocks while supercharging DeFi capabilities. Now, this is absolutely awesome. So he's basically, and he loves to do this. He loves to give us a little nod, a wink, to say, retail, you got in early. Now this is a matter of just waiting it out. Now, he says here, and this is on the Quant website, the blockchain infrastructure and interoperability problem have been hiding in plain sight, which we just talked about. They've spent years watching this unfold. Banks, asset managers, and enterprises want the reach and the liquidity of public change, but they can't stomach the compliance risk. They need to know where their transactions are being processed, who's validating them, and how to maintain privacy without sacrificing interoperability. So today they're introducing Quantfusion, a new way to solve institutional interoperability with the first layer 2.5 network built specifically to solve these institutional roadblocks while supercharging the DeFi capabilities. So the problem everyone's been dancing around, let's be direct about what's broken. Current blockchain architecture forces institutions into impossible choices. So he says here, use layer 1 directly. You're exposed to unknown validators in potentially sanctioned jurisdictions. Your transactions are completely public. You can't safely integrate internal security and key management systems with external blocks. Your compliance team will have a nightmare. Now, for me, this is about being able to, if there's a problem, go to someone. It's someone specifically and say, this is a problem. And someone has accountability regards to that. Now, it also says here, stick to permission networks. You're isolated from the broader ecosystem. Liquidity is limited. Essentially, rebuilding the walled garden blockchain was supposed to eliminate. Then it says here, try existing layer twos. You're still tied to a single chain, dependent on clunky bridges and facing the same fundamental compliance issues. None of these work for serious institutional deployment. And frankly, they'll limit what's possible for DeFi protocols too. Enter layer 2.5. A different approach. Fusion isn't just another scaling solution. It's patented multi-chain rollup network that operates across multiple layer ones simultaneously. Think of it as a horizontal infrastructure rather than vertical scaling. Here's what makes it different. So we've got the multi-ledger design, compliance-first architecture, privacy without isolation, and enterprise-grade security, and the real use cases. Now, this is very, very interesting because of the way it's been designed specifically for institutions. And as we know, they set the standards and they built the tech around those standards. And this is what's been happening for many, many years. Now, this brings me to this. Quant is building the future of blockchain interoperability. Quant Network's Overledger connects blockchains, enterprises, and legacy systems. We're in the early adoption phase, but the network effect is brewing, ready for critical mass. Now, Overledger Fusion, the world's first multi-chain rollup, is a game changer for scalable cross-chain solutions. Partnerships with Oracle and LackChain showing growing traction. As more join the network, Quant's value skyrockets. So gateway model is operate as stake Quant process transactions, creating an economic flywheel. More gateways equal more connectivity, more value. Add ISO 222 compliance for CBDCs and critical mass is near. Now, obviously, we talk about stablecoins, exactly the same thing, but just packaged up differently. And then we see here, developers are building dApps on Overledger and enterprises eye Quant for supply chain and finance solutions. Retail's waking up, institutions are watching. They're watching. We're already in there. When Quant hits critical mass, the interoperability revolution will explode. And I think this is what he's explained from that first message via the team. But we front run this. And at some point, the critical mass point will scale up. And that's what I'm hoping. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just my personal opinion. This is my personal viewpoint on where we are. Now, I put a post out a while back. Now, I find this very interesting. And it was actually from a video that Apex done. I put this tweet out. So I wanted to talk strategy. So Quant Network's SATP Sandbox lets institutions test Overledger without buying Quant or licenses. Now, this could be a game changer, but here's the theory. Retail might sell too early, missing the institutional wave. Now, the SATP Sandbox is a risk-free zone for banks and big players to test digital asset transfers. No quant needed for testing, only live deployment. This means the institutions can prep without touching the token yet. Now, you can read that via the website, which is Quant Bolster DLT Security and Interoperability with SATP. Now, Quant's got heavy hitters like the Bank of England, the BIS, Oracle, and Nexi in its corner. These partnerships scream institutional interest. Now, when they move from testing to live licenses, they'll need Quant for fees and access. And this is where the demand could spike. Now, here's the kicker, and this is what I've always been talking about. Institutions testing for free could time their quant buys perfectly. If the price pumps, say on adoption news, retail might sell, think it's the peak, expecting the bear market like past cycles. Now, some people are going to hate this because there's always, but what if this time it's different? Is this time different? I believe so, in my personal opinion. Because never before have we seen institutional adoption. It's usually been architected by exchanges like Binance and other organizations, pump and dump, the cycles. But what if it's different this time because of institutional adoption? So with Quant's fixed 14.8 million token supply, institutional license buys could drive serious demand. Retail selling early might get locked out if prices don't dip as expected. So imagine banks flipping the switch while retail is left chasing. And that's my point. But really, this is just a theory. So we've got to understand markets are wild and no one's got a crystal ball. But Quant's institutional backing and sandbox setup make this pretty much worth pondering. Now, my question is, are you holding quant for the long haul, or would a pump sort of tempt you to sell? Now, this is really a really big question because it's not being able to sort of, we've got to think outside the box. And I think for me, I'm tempted to hold partly because I want that passive income from Fusion. Because could we get caught out later on thinking, well, this is the top, so you sell here like you normally do and feel like you can buy back lower? But imagine if the institutions decide just to join in at that point and the price doesn't drop as much as what we thought it would. And this is what we're all up against. We're all up against this situation. And this is why, taking profits, absolutely fine. I've got no problem with that. But some people are talking about selling it all, thinking that they're going to get back in at a cheaper price. But what if suddenly the institutions decide to flip that switch? And then that will leave them, essentially with their pants down because they're not going to be able to get back in at the same price of what they sold. Now, this is a dilemma that we're all going to be up against. And that's where I'm at, thinking about it, surmising what will be the approach. Will they, join? Will it be later on? Will it be next cycle? These are all things that we have to ponder over. And these are things that I'm pondering over, making decisions. So what I'd like you to do is let me know in the comments what you think, because it's all, community driven. We learn from each other. So there you go. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. Please share this so that other people can comment, get their opinion on it. Because the more opinions that we get, we can arrive at a sort of a mean what people might be doing. And it's all good to educate each other. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. All the best, and I'll catch you later.